Well, I think it's fundamental that the universities maintain their role as asking deep questions about the way the world is and the way the world could be, and not being intimidated by people who happen to be powerful or have particular agendas. If people, if scholars don't report the things that they see in the world around them with absolute integrity, because they're afraid of what might happen to them if they speak out, then we don't deserve that privilege and that protection. It's like journalists. Journalists have the freedom of the press for exactly the same reason. And when you get a domesticated, tame, subservient press, then people are only hearing the messages that people in power want them to hear, and it's quite often to their disadvantage, the disadvantage of ordinary people. And I think that's quite tragic. It's part of academic freedom. It's that role of people in the university to be able to report on the patterns of the world as they emerge and as they reveal themselves to inspection, rather than what people want you to say or is convenient for particular interests in society. So, having been involved in discussions, debates, conflicts between Māori and Europeans for a very long time, I've been in the thick of that. I suppose the things that I really care about are to do with really the future. I've studied the past a lot, but I always use that to think about where we might be heading, and not just as New Zealanders, but also in the wider world. So thinking about environmental challenges and how you can come up with philosophical alternatives to some ways of thinking that seem pretty destructive, and not being concerned too much if people think that the things that you're saying conflict with their own interests, because I've seen those change over time. When I was young and talking about how great it was to be experiencing aspects of Te Ao Māori, for quite a long time people thought that was bizarre, and that's changed. That's changed enormously over the last 20 to 30 years. And I think on the environmental front, I think we're at the moment dealing with quite antique attitudes that they're going to go into the dustbin of history as well, I think.